Good morning, all of you. Hope all of you are fit and fine. Today we will discuss chapter 3rd of class 9th chemistry, that is atoms and molecules. In this chapter, we will first discuss about the introduction part. Then afterward, we will discuss about atoms, how the atoms get formed, what is the exact radius of atoms, and after that we will discuss law of chemical combination. Basically, law of chemical combination itself is made up of several laws, that is law of conservation of mass, law of definite proportion, law of multiple proportion, and law of reciprocal proportion. But in class 9th only three laws are there, that is law of conservation of mass, law of definite proportion, and law of multiple proportion. Though law of multiple proportion is not in your syllabus, but then also we will discuss some parts of law of multiple proportion. Now, after that, we will discuss postulates of Dalton atomic theory. Why we will discuss this? Because John Dalton was the first scientist who gave the theoretical information about atom. In that, we will discuss about merits and demerits of Dalton atomic theory, and after that in this video we will also discuss how the symbolization process takes place and what are the symbols used or utilized to indicate any element. So let's just start with the introduction part. As we all know that atom is the smallest unit of matter. It consists of positively charged center termed as nucleus. See, in the center of atom, positively charged particles are there along with neutral charged particle, and combinedly they called as nucleons, and it is covered with a thin layer which is called as nucleus. And also, and after, when you actually see the structure outside the nucleus, negatively charged particles surrounds the center and they are electrons. An atom is the smallest unit of matter. It retains all the chemical properties of elements. Whatever the properties shown by elements, that all are retained by an atom only. Now let's just start with the atom. See, look at in this figure. Here we will come to know how that from molecule to quark get formed. Here it is written matter. Matter is made up of molecule and molecule is made up of atoms. Atoms are also made up of nucleons, that is protons and neutrons, and around the nucleons and around the nucleus negatively charged particle is there, that is electron. Now we will discuss about the positively charged center which is having protons and neutrons. All the protons and neutrons are bonded through a bond which is known as gluon, and this gluon, combined gluon structure, is known as quark. So that is how from molecule to quark get formed. Now atoms. What exactly the atoms are? See, here the some pictures are there. Now, an atom is the smallest unit of element that may or may not exist independently and retains all its chemical property that we already discussed, because the mass of any atom is totally based on the center of any atom, because center is the positively charged particles. Atoms are very small in size and smaller than anything we can imagine or compare with. See, the term atom is taken from the word atomos, which means a thing which we are not able to divide into more smaller pieces. Just understand like this. Suppose one bigger particle is this and we just keep breaking this particle. So it just get smaller, then it just get more smaller. After that, again when we divide it, it get more smaller, and at last it reaches at the point where their division is not possible at all. So that indivisible particles are known as atoms. Basically, atomic radius, we see, suppose if atom is a center, so the half of distance from the center to the periphery of that circle is known as atomic radius. Atomic radius is measured in nanometer. 1 nanometer is 10 to the power minus 9 meter, or 1 meter is equals to 10 to the power 9 nanometer. For example, atomic radius of an hydrogen atom is 10 to the power 10 minus 10 to the power minus 10 meter. The radius of molecule of water molecule, here beta, just look at this. Here we are discussing about atomic radius of hydrogen atom, which is 10 to the power minus 10 meter, and here we are discussing the atomic radius of water molecule, that is H2O, which is 10 to the power minus 9 meter. So basically when we are discussing about atom, so definitely we will discuss about their size also. Their size is very, very small, but then also we just calculate the radius in order to find out the size of any atom. So here example is given of atomic radius of hydrogen is 10 to the power minus 10 meter, and atomic radius of molecule of water is 10 to the power minus 9 meter. Here examples, some more examples are there. See, look at this. Here it is written N and N, then it get form N2, O and O, it will form O2. Similarly, in the molecular form 2O and 1 carbon, then it will form CO2. Like this, some of the neutral or elementary form of atoms are there, that is neon, krypton, xenon. They are the elementary form. What is elementary form of atoms? Elementary form of elements or atoms when they are present in their ground state, that is known as the elementary form, and some of the elements are already stable and they are known as inert elements, and their individual units are known as inert atoms. Like inert elements are neon, krypton, xenon, argon, they are the inert elements. Now let's just see. Now we will discuss about the law of chemical combination. Law of chemical combination is basically made up of several types of law, that is law of conservation of mass, law of definite proportion, law of multiple proportion, and law of reciprocal proportion. So let's just start with the first law, that is law of conservation of mass. What exactly this law is? It states that mass can neither be created nor destroyed in a chemical reaction. Suppose if one chemical reaction is there, like A get react with B and it gives you A and B. So according to the definition, it says that mass is neither created nor destroyed. It always get transformed from one place to another place. So when A react with B, suppose A is having some mass like 50 gram and B is having some mass 50 gram. So after the reaction, before the reaction, A and B is the individual one and they are known as the reactant. And after the reaction, they get converted in a form of result which is called as product. So the combined mass is become 100 gram. So there is no loss of mass. That's why it was said that in a chemical reaction, mass is neither created nor destroyed. Now, this means that during a chemical reaction, the sum of the masses of reactant and product are remain unchanged. Simple. With this logic only we can understand beta that A react with B and gives us A and B. So this part is known as reactant, means a substance which is undergo in a chemical reaction which get combined, that is known as reactant part, and after the chemical reaction the substance which we are getting is known as product. Now let's just understand with one example. Take some sodium sulfate solution in a conical flask and some barium chloride in a ignition tube. Hang the ignition tube in the flask by thread and put a cork on the flask. Find the mass of the flask on a balance. Then tilt the flask. A chemical reaction takes place and sodium chloride and barium sulfate get formed. Then find the mass of the flask again. It will seem that the sum of the masses of reactant and product remain unchanged. So in simple language, we can say that the mass of the reactant is always equal to the total mass of the product. Or we can say that total mass of the reactant is equal to the total mass of the product. That is the law of conservation of mass. According to this activity, what is given, that sodium sulfate solution react with barium chloride. So sodium sulfate formula is Na2SO4 plus BaCl2. Because of the combination, what product will form? BaSO4. 2BaSO4, because here BaSO4 plus NaCl, 2NaCl. So when you calculate the mass of the reactant side, it always comes equal to the mass of the product. That is the law of chemical combination, and in that we are discussing about law of conservation of mass. Let's just understand this activity with figure of another examples. See, in this figure, just look at this. One conical flask is there. Okay, in this flask, one test tube is there. In this test tube, we will take calcium chloride or barium chloride. And in conical flask, we will take sodium sulfate solution. And we just measure the mass. After that, what we do, we just tilt the conical flask like this. Like this. And when we tilt it, immediately the calcium chloride mixed with sodium sulfate, and it gives a product of calcium sulfate and NaCl. Simply, and when we measure the mass, it again gives you the equal mass, which proves that the law of conservation of mass is neither created nor destroyed during a chemical reaction. Now, we will discuss about law of constant proportion or definite proportion. It states that in a chemical compound, the elements are always present in a definite proportion by mass. For example, water always contains two elements, hydrogen and oxygen, combined together in the same ratio of 2:16 or 1/8 by mass. If 9 gram of water is decomposed, then we will get 1 gram of hydrogen and 8 gram of oxygen. Similarly, in case of ammonia, nitrogen always get combined with hydrogen in the ratio of 14:3 by their mass. So what exactly the law of constant proportion is? It is saying that whatever place we go, if we combine two atoms of hydrogen along with one atom of oxygen, it will always give you a product water only. So whatever place we move, we just only get water molecule by the combination of two atom of hydrogen and one atom of oxygen. And if we take according to their mass, then we have to take here 2:16. So we will convert them into a smallest whole ratio, that is 1:8. So simply it says that if we burn 9 gram, so if we divide 9 gram, so we will get a ratio of 1:8. 1 gram of hydrogen and 8 gram of oxygen. So whatever place or whatever the thing is there, if we combine 1 gram of hydrogen along with 8 gram of oxygen, then we are able to get water molecule. The similar case in a case of ammonia also, when one nitrogen molecule get combined with 3 atom of hydrogen, then we are getting ammonia gas. If we take according to their mass, then it will come 14:3. Now we will discuss about law of multiple proportion. When two elements from a series of a compound, then the ratio of the masses of second element that combine with 1 gram of first element can always be reduced to smallest whole number ratio. Let's just understand with the example. See, we normally know that whenever carbon get combined with oxygen, it will always gives carbon dioxide. But the thing is this, if we little bit manipulate, or if we little bit change the amount of oxygen, then the nature of compound also get changed. Instead of getting carbon dioxide, we will get carbon monoxide. For example, just see. Suppose CO2 and CO. Here one atom of carbon is there and one atom of carbon is there. So in both the cases, number of carbon atom is similar. What is changing? The number of atom of oxygen. In carbon dioxide, 2 atom of oxygen is there, and in carbon monoxide, 1 atom of oxygen is there. So let's just take the ratio also. 12:32. 12:16. Let's just convert into smallest whole number ratio. 3:4 and 3:8. So in both the cases, the amount of carbon is fixed, but we are changing the amount of oxygen. So this proves that during a chemical reaction which takes place between two elements, is not necessary only one type of product get formed. It depends upon the amount of the second element. If we little bit change the amount of other element, we are get another series of a compound, which proves that the law of multiple proportion. It's not fixed that always one type of compound is formed which is a fixed ratio, but if we manipulate or if we change the amount of other element, we are able to get new set of compound, and this is known as law of multiple proportion, which is given by John Dalton only. Let's just understand the law of multiple proportion with another example. Here one example is given. The ratio of the masses of oxygen in water molecule and hydrogen peroxide will be smallest whole number, that is 2. So in hydrogen peroxide, the mass of oxygen is 32, and in oxygen the mass of oxygen is 16. So if we take the ratio, we will get 2:1. So in both the cases, the mass of the oxygen is get changed, but the mass of the hydrogen is remain fixed. So that thing only I am just trying to explain. It's not necessary during a chemical reaction only one set of a chemical compound get formed. It depends upon the percentage of one of the reacting element. If we change the amount of the second element, we are able to get new set of chemical reaction, and that law is known as law of multiple proportion. Now we will discuss about some other laws and some other topic of this chapter in our next lecture video. Till now, thank you.